Hi, good morning. I'm almost done. I had to hurry up. I thought the time was different, but I do have time, so I want to come on and say hello. Hello. So, I had to change up my makeup routine because now that I've got my face moisturized by sleeping in Vaseline for a week, this last week, I'm really happy with my skin again. It's back to a good balance as far as being normal, not dry. And so I'm changing up my foundation routine. Remember that CeraVe that I used? CeraVe sunscreen with toner, or with a with a tint in it. Well, it is useless as a foundation. I suppose it would work as a sunscreen, but as a moisturizer, it is phenomenal. It's almost like a honey. It's pretty thick. Oh, it goes on so nice and absorbs. Feels really good. And then, instead of using a different foundation, I used the Tinted Hydrator by Wet n Wild. I just used some of that. The combo ended up not giving like a full medium to full coverage. It was more of a light to medium coverage. And then I filled it in with my Rimmel powder, that's the sand, and a darker 350 Fit Me. I just took the brush on both of them, wrapped it back and forth, and filled it in. Yeah. And I like it. And I was able to stop using some self-discipline to not over powder. That takes me self-discipline, because that's why I'm not a very good cook. I love adding lots of spices just because it's fun to do. Excuse me. I know, it's crazy. I thought. Powder gets in the corners of my eyes. Always check the corners of your eyes before you head out the door. But I don't have tear ducts like everybody else. I have double tear ducts, so maybe they make things funny. I don't know. Oh no, look what I did. I didn't mean to do that. I went to laugh too hard and messed up my mascara. Isn't that funny? Laughing too hard. That is too funny. How'd you mess up your makeup? Laughing too hard. You know, that's not a bad problem to have. That's not a bad problem to have. But now I'm going to take my little brush and my Rimmel sand, and I'll just add a little color there. Just a little bit. All right. Okay, so what else? We need blush. Well, hello. I have been so busy lately, and really with the weather change, maybe just tired. But I did want to share with you something. That's why I wanted to hop on. Is if you feel like trying something today, I want you to try wrapping your mind around something. And it's probably one of the few things, like a lot of little things have helped my life. But there are a few, just a few things that have transformed my way of thinking. And one of them is to give up trying to have my childhood. That was a big deal. To forgive the universe, or just accept that the universe gave me the childhood that I did. And the people that were in my life did not help, because they couldn't. Period. That's the deal. If they could have done better, they would have. That was huge for me. Huge, huge, huge. That, and I know this is going to sound weird, but to stop wanting and be whatever it is that I have in front of me, to practice being grateful for what I have, not wanting. Weird, huh? Things like that, thoughts like that, like all day long at my job, thinking, oh, I want a different job. Oh, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. But not doing that. And simply being in the moment, being in the day, being with the person I'm with, not trying to change them, accepting them for exactly what's going on in the moment, not for what they did yesterday, last week, and last month, and our whole lives together, or the dismal future I see for myself. But to live in the moment and be content. There's a difference between staying in a relationship while being bullied and put down. There's an amount of time each of us can offer a relationship, and there's an amount of childhood issues we have to work through while that's happening, right? We have to get to the point where if we stop pushing to be heard, pushing to be seen, pushing to make things different and better, see how it comes back at us. If we stop pushing, I have learned for me to just live in the environment as long as I want, and simply say, don't talk to me that way, please. That's all I'm asking you, is don't talk to me that way. And if they're still enjoying that and they think it's funny that you're even trying to defend yourself, oh, please, God Almighty, let this situation open up for you that you need, to give you the courage to live in a different place or live in a different way. I hate that you'd have to go through that. I have in my past experienced that, so I understand it. Where somebody would rather you think you're crazy than just admit what's really going on, you know? I don't know. My cheeks just look so sunken in. And I have not lost weight. I guess it's just sagging. Oh well. I need to go stand in some good lighting. Anyway, another one of the practices, because often, okay, so to finish that up, so often people quit pushing back when they feel less pressured. Whether they deserve to feel less pressure doesn't matter. Oh, excuse me. This gray, cold weather is making me sleepy. We listen to too much social media or mainstream media that tells us we should be able to do this, we should be able to do that. And most of the time it's unrealistic. I can't hardly think of... There are very few channels that actually represent the type of lifestyle I would want as far as lifestyle. I'm not talking about our sweet ladies who do our morning makeup. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the Kardashian stuff. I'm talking about mascara commercials on TV where it's like it's all about being vibrant and out there in the world and sexy, and they're not even talking about careers or how they're treating their boyfriends or husbands or children. It's like, how could those people be participating in a way that's meaningful to the human race. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just saying there's not much time for that when you're doing all of this. It's just there's not a lot of time to just practice being a good human, but I could be wrong. I mean, my point is, for us everyday people, my experience is emotionally we can't afford to be in the gym 5 hours a day, 3 hours a day, and put on all that makeup and do all that shopping and still love well. So if you're an everyday person, don't feel alone. Don't feel alone. Nobody does this perfectly. Nobody does it well consistently. We all just try the best we can. The only way I was able to improve my relationships at all was because I was working on myself and quit working on the other person. And so now the relationships that I have may not be perfect. I don't have one perfect relationship. I have several relationships with my girlfriends, my husband, y'all, that helps round out the rough edges. We don't have to, the whole thought process that our partner, our spouse, however you want to say it, is supposed to be our everything is a Hallmark fantasy. And I can tear them apart all day long. It's so fun. But I don't. I just look at it as brain candy, a mental vacation. But I don't look at it as hopes and dreams. Come out of that. No hopes and dreams. Just relax, be in the moment. And look around and see what you have going on in your life, people, places, or things that you can invest more in. Those things, instead of wanting something we don't have. Wanting something we don't have. Because if we got what we think we wanted, mouth-watering ideas, stop fantasizing. Because chances are, if you had the time and space to go after that, you probably wouldn't get it. They'd probably be scared. Yeah, they'd probably change their mind. Who knows? That's just my guess. And that's all right. That's all right. So I'm just trying to joke around a little bit, but if you're in a hard spot, sometimes when we're hurt, just so hurt, it's hard to get out of that hurt spot. But do the basic health things, because the healthier you are, the more your brain has a chance to rest and rejuvenate. You know what I mean? Recuperate from the stress. And if you stop being out there with your thinking, hoping, wishing, wondering, just stop. Stop thought, change thought. Stop thought, change thought. If your mind starts wandering about a past love or a future love or love or, your car not being a Jeep or a Lambo, whatever, and your house not being a mansion or whatever. Think of the next right thing to do instead. What can you do to make your house more comfortable today and right away? What's the next thing you can do to make your car more pleasant right now? What's the next thing you can do with your relationship to make it a little more pleasant? Maybe it's just detaching a little bit. You know what I mean? Not engaging. What are you doing over there? I said I didn't like that. Blah, blah, blah. Instead, just be, oh, okay. And if they talk to you mean, just say, oh, please don't talk to me in that tone of voice, please. Right? There are different ways to say it. You have to find your best way to say it. I'm not as sensitive and loving as of a person when I'm feeling violated. So I've had to really work hard on me feeling violated. Not everything's a violation. You know, I had to really tweak my vocabulary too, that I was telling myself. Because I was telling myself that, you know what? I like lots of eyeliner. But I thought yesterday I would cut back on it. What do you think? Because usually I bring the eyeliner out here a little bit. I'm going to go through the day today with this less eyeliner. I don't care for it, but we'll see what happens. I promise you the energy and stress that we use to hang on to hope or hang on to passion, hang on to oomph, it's just such a waste of energy. It's so much calmer to just find 100 tiny little things from your day that you enjoy. Try it. Try it. I wish I had had someone tell me this when I was first finding it over and over and over again. It held me accountable for it because it was hard to do. So funny how so many things that would help us the most are the hardest to do. When somebody came up with the idea, easier said than done, that's this. To not want more, right? There was a client that I had that she was very verbally aggressive. Well, I was standing up for myself. I'm not going to take it. But she kept threatening to leave or kill herself or something. Well, she finally quit saying, I'm going to kill myself, because we were talking about integrity with our word, right? Being impeccable with our words. So don't say stuff you don't mean. Mean what you say what you mean, and don't say it mean. We learned that. And so she was still kind of, her husband was not a gem. We'll say that. It was like some men who just don't talk. And when they do, they have a tone of voice that's obviously dissatisfied with life. And so she got in the habit of telling him what's wrong with him all the time. You never engage. You're always so grouchy. You're blah, blah, blah. You get the picture. And you hurt me so much. So anyway, she finally stopped doing that. She started doing the wanting less. Meaning not taking the action of trying to pull in what she wants. Just be where she's at and appreciate what she has going on. Oh, it was so hard, wanting less. But shouldn't I tell him what I want? No, he knows what you want. Every human being knows what you want. We all want the same thing. So when she was able to stop pursuing him, which is very masculine behavior, right? Pursuing him for attention. It's very intimidating and offensive to most men, especially that caliber, right? And that genre. So when she was able to just start going about her business, not trying to get a kiss goodnight, not trying to get a hug, not trying to have sex, not trying to have family outings, not trying to have dates, not trying to be attractive to lure him in, pursuing, right? He was able to relax a little bit, use a little bit calmer voice, be able to get a little closer in proximity, not touching, not doing anything. But here's where the wanting got scary. This is interesting. and I've seen it, and I've experienced it myself, is it gets closer and you can just smell it. So you're like, well, why don't you come a little closer? And it's like, like, no. Okay, practice not wanting. Practice letting go of passion. Practice letting go of that. And simply let him pursue you, right? And he may not pursue you. He may need to stay in a status that's neutral to not be afraid of you anymore. And when I say afraid, I'm saying that men have, they have such high regard for what they mean to the females in their life. And if they didn't feel meaningful with their mother, they felt punished or neglected, they, just like women, expect certain things subconsciously out of relationships based on their childhood. They expect you to be scary. So if you present scary at all, raised voice, coming forward, the facial expressions, all they're thinking is, oh, great. And it's not sexy, right? It's not sexy. The more we look like their punishing mother, the less sexy it is. And I'm not saying, you know, if you stop being that way, you're going to get great sex. I'm just saying, at least things won't be so hostile in the house. It's a fun, exciting topic to not want, to not go after the passion. Save passion for things that are safe, that are actually yours. Passion for sharing your feelings with your friend, or journaling, or writing, or gardening, or a career field. Passion is an overused word, and it's overcredited for rewards on the reward scale. Like, if you follow your passions, life is going to be glowing, right? And that's not so true. Passion could be a warrior in a war, and that's not joyous. It's something that gives you fire to get going. So be careful about vocabulary. Are you actually using the vocabulary that works in your life? Oh, so many juicy things. I guess my mind is going in these places because you can just about bet that at holidays, even Halloween, holidays, as a counselor, as a therapist, psychotherapist, addictions counselor, that specializes in trauma, death, and dying, and suicidal ideation, things get stirred up. And some of these topics, these little topics that I talked about, they're really coming out of the woodwork right now. And I'm not surprised. Some of them I've experienced myself, and some of them I sit back and think, oh God, I wish I could have been your mother. Man, some people really just... I wonder sometimes what it would have looked like from the outside instead of just from the child's perspective. Because sometimes there's enough information that makes it look like the parent was a good enough parent. It's just that this child was very sensitive, or sensitive enough, because someone else in the family may not have been affected the same way under the same circumstances. And sometimes anyone from the outside would have said, oh man, to be a good enough parent, you cannot do that, or you must do this. Come on. You know, I wish there was some kind of way that there was a parenthood support group. I don't know. It's too bad that there are people who have such low self-esteem that they make these decisions that leave them in a very vulnerable place, emotionally, financially, and even physically. And there are people out there who will take advantage of you if you're a willing customer. Don't be willing to sell your soul. Don't be willing to do that. I can tell you this. I'm not judging prostitution, because there are some people who can get back on track by selling their body, and they do it for a limited time. They get back on track. They get a real job, one that doesn't crush their soul, and get their own place to live, and they start living in the normal range. So I'm not against prostitution, but there are ways that some of us prostitute without even knowing it, giving parts of our soul to somebody who abuses us and not getting anything in return. Well, that's not even prostitution. What is that? Yeah, we have to be careful about what are we just giving away? What are we just giving away? It's like, at least prostitutes sell it. And I'm just saying, and if there are people who know that their heart isn't in a situation, just remember back in the day, even in America, when people would have hard lives, they would match up with someone they weren't necessarily madly in love with and have a better life and appreciate that and act like it. Was it perfect? No. Somehow. Just a little better. There we go. I call that a fair trade. If you're giving something and they're giving something, that's reciprocal. Reciprocal. You know what I mean? You don't have to feel bad about that. If it's a good trade, if there are some people who go, oh, I'm not getting everything I want, then stop giving everything you've got. Try to make it a fair trade. Well, I spend money on this and this and this, and they only spend it on this. Like, okay, so you have to look at their income versus your income. What percentage of their income are they spending in agreed upon areas? If they're not holding up their end of the bargain, then pull back. That's harder than it sounds. It takes a lot of guts to pull back. If you're giving good sexual entertainment to your partner and there's not reciprocity, then pull back. Gently. Say what you mean what you say, don't say it mean, or don't say anything at all and just gently pull back. There are different ways to work out relationships. They don't all have to make sense to everyone else. As long as they make sense to you. Oh, my poor baby. He's out there missing me. And I have to get in front of the camera for work. Know that I love you. I'm thinking of you. And if you know someone who needs to hear this video, because it is kind of straight talk, I might be a little discombobulated because I have so many things going in my mind. And this video is for a brain dump. It's not to to get popular. And it's to share with some of you ladies that might need to hear that you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. I promise you. There's a lot of us that take a while to get life sorted out. I just want, if I fall asleep in my if I die when I fall asleep tonight, I want to know that I did the best I can to have an honorable life, to have some kind of dignity, to find joy and comfort. Am I gonna, how often do people die the perfect death? Not very often. You know, the dream is to fall asleep in your lover's arms. That hardly ever happens. Just know that hardly ever happens. Matter of fact, I could Google it just to make sure I'm right, but it can happen. I've seen it happen when I was volunteering for hospice, and when I do my, but when I'm doing my death and dying work, I'm usually the one sitting with the dying family member. And that's not a bad thing. It's hard to watch. It's hard to go through. A lot of people are able to do it, but it's not, the timing isn't always there. I mean, people have to sleep. They have to go to the bathroom. They have to go to the grocery store and feed their kids. So I'm blessed enough that I get to do that job. So just know that whatever fantasy that you're holding on to in your head about how life and death is supposed to be, let go. Let go of the fantasies. Let go of the hopes and dreams and the passions. Just for a little bit, and don't take it out of context. You know better than that. It's about letting go of all that daydreaming and be in your life at this time, in this body. Be here right now. What's the next little baby step you can do to make your life a little bit better, regardless of what the outside or your physical health issues are? What's one note? If it's physical health issues, it seems to be your partner in life. Figure out what's one tiny little thing that you actually could do to make things better. And I know for a fact, because I work with people all the time who know they've been told over and over again what could help them feel better, but will they do it? No. Why? Because they're rebellious. Because they've been getting along with barely skating by and nothing's happened yet, so I'll do it my way. Because they like the bad behavior a lot better than the good behavior, so they don't know the reward of feeling better. We humans are stubborn sometimes. But we can sometimes be willing to practice just for a few seconds at a time. Just a few seconds at a time, by not opening the mouth and letting vitriol come out, or sadness, or manipulation, or anger, or whatever the words are, and the tone and the pace and the volume, to just shut our mouth and not let anything come out. That can be painstaking, painful, but oh, so rewarding once you get on the other side. But you have to want to know what it feels like on the other side. And to not eat that Oreo. That was one of my partners in life. Or Oreos, honestly, God. Oh, Oreos. They were in the car with me. They were in my purse, book bag, on my belly in front of the sofa at night. Oh, yeah. But I had to want to know what it felt like to not be so happy and sluggish and tired. I had to be curious enough to know what it would be like on the other side. Now, that's something to get passionate about. That's something worth getting passionate about and wanting to know. But don't do it if you're not willing to experiment. Don't waste your time and energy wanting to know something and not be willing to experiment. You have to be willing to actually do the experiment, not just think about it, right? There's still some things I'm not willing to give up yet. Like, I heard that if you don't drink coffee in the morning, just warm water with some honey in it, some real honey, not hot water, because hot water does something weird to the honey. And so, and the creamer in my coffee, it's actually sweetened evaporated milk. It's full of all that bad sugar. And I'm also using Ghirardelli pumpkin spice lately. And so all those ingredients that make that probably aren't good for you. They could even be terrible because of preservatives. You know, I'm not curious enough to know what I'm going to feel like if I stop doing that, stop drinking my coffee. So pumpkin will last so long, and I'll go back to my caramel. I love Ghirardelli caramel in my coffee. None of this is perfect. If you don't want to try any of these experiments, no problem. I love you anyway. I love you anyway. So there. All right, y'all. I'm not doing much of makeup today. What do you think? Is it okay? This lip looks very, very white. I'm gonna put some of that 305 on there. That blends it a little better, right? Might make these wrinkles a little darker, but I think it's a good trade-off. Fair trade. It's a fair trade. I feel naked without more eyeliner on, but I'm willing to experiment. Okay. I'm trying to be extra gracious leaving you today because I don't want anybody to think I'm being judgmental or that I'm better than anybody else. I just want to make it very clear that anything that I'm mentioning, I have worked out very, very, very hard. And the things that I haven't worked very hard on, well, that's why I'm still working on it. There are some things I do naturally at this point, and there are some things that I still have to struggle with. Ever so often, I do get that childhood loneliness, that desire to have, well, fill in the blank. But the math adds up to what I have right now is pretty darn good. If you take in consideration a whole list of things that I have going on in my life that, you know, if circumstances were different, I might not have. Have you made a gratitude list lately? Might be time to whip out the paper and pen and write down all the things that you have during the day. And as things happen, add them to the list. Add to the list every night. See how that list starts growing. See if you can't find a way to be grateful, not for the pain and the loneliness, but for what you do have and the opportunity to force yourself to not feel so lonely by refusing to feel lonely. You can refuse to feel anything. It might take a few minutes to get out of it, but if you refuse it, like if I start feeling angry, I refuse to feel it. So if I accidentally get angry, I have to do the things that will counteract it. Drink some water, leave the environment, take a break, go wash my hands, do some push-ups, dance it off. I'm willing to do anything to get out of the anger so that I don't reignite the brain chemicals that make my body and my thoughts go angry. You have to be willing. So next time I get on here, I might share with you some different examples on how to do that. I had a little slip the other day, and I'm really improving. I was able to hear and feel how I was saying something, and I thought, well, that's not helpful. I thought that's success, because then I was able to shut my mouth and just say, oh, I'm sorry I even started down that road. You want some water? You want some iced tea? It's like, then I was able to take a break and do something completely different. It happens sometimes. That's okay. None of us is perfect. Just look at the trade-off. Is this good enough? Or do you want to face all that? That's up to you. If you're ready to face a new adventure, okay. Just remember, right now, the economy is weird, politics is weird, the social climate is weird, civil unrest is getting really edgy and weird, racism is getting weird. So if you're ready to go out on your own, make a big life change, make sure you're ready. You have your ducks in a row. You know where you're going to live, you know where you're going to work, you know how you're going to get back and forth, that you know how you're going to protect yourself, how you're going to be safe, how you're going to keep your children safe. And I'm not trying to scare y'all. I'm just telling you to be aware. Just be aware, be awake, and know how you're going to do it, how you're going to pay for it. Yeah. So if you've decided to stay where you're at for now, do it with grace. Not for them, but for you. Do it with grace. And do what you can to prevent loneliness. Loneliness is poison. Find something joyful to do. Make an effort to reach out and help someone else not feel so lonely through a text or a phone call. All right, I got to run. Oh my God, I've been on here forever. All right, I love you. And just remember, loneliness is poison. Reach out and help someone else not feel poisoned. And it'll help you not feel poisoned. You don't have to love yourself today, but I want you to try value. How can you value your life today? I value you. I love hearing from you. So leave a comment if you feel like it, and know that I love you. Bye for now.